Hey guys, what it is yo girl Cadillac. Yes, I'm Cadillac Dixon. I'm the Drama Life Prison Wife. I'm the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice. Open! Because you got to hold your breath for justice. To see justice before our face to blink. Yes, he's your girl Cadillac. Anyways, guys, I am coming through today, October the 7th, 2025. Girl, what time is it? Oh gosh, it's later than I thought. It's 11:02 p.m. Anyways, I'm coming through because we're trying to get back to my testimonies. I've been on my justice tip, right? And I do plan on, if I got a little bit of energy, later finishing up 1250 podcast project Reach the World drawing. Y'all know we started that. I don't even know when we started that, but I did part. It just wasn't working. Like the Wi-Fi in my house is gone to bed. Like literally, there's no Wi-Fi. Like, and then they did something out front of the house, and when they were done, it was like literally no, no, no. It's saying about to die. The phone about to unalive itself. Okay. I want to do my video. The phone's about to unalive itself. But anyways, y'all know justice is a passion of mine. Y'all know if you on this channel, I am, I don't know, I just take to justice. Injustice has hit me so many parts of my life, right? Um, but I also been led to tell my testimony. So though injustice is a portion of my testimony, there are more things within my testimony. So October is Blindness Awareness Month. So I wanted to tell the story. I have done it before on this channel because the channel is old as jail, and it has so many videos. Like, girl, I could never, sometimes I can't even find the videos. I have it in my mind of what I want to link or tell you to go watch or whatever, but I can't find it because there's so many videos. But I have told the story before, but I wanted to tell the story once more. Hold on, guys. I gotta go find my charger because I don't want the phone to unalive itself while we're talking. Okay, I got it. So, anyways, it is Blindness Awareness Month, October. So, I wanted to tell the testimony of basically how I lost my vision, how I started to lose my vision, because I still got a portion of it. And this is the part of the testimony. What I realized is that it's not always what you have. Like, sometimes we don't have as much as others, right? I don't have as much vision as most people, right? Majority people. But the portion that I have somehow, sometimes it's more than what some others have, right? So I have to, whatever portion I have of it, I have to use it to the fullest extent that I can, right? Just like our health. Not everybody has their full health. Some people have their full able body health, right? And I've dealt with disabilities for much of my life. And they have made my life very, very challenging. But they make me work that much more harder. And I have to still be grateful for the portion of health that I have. So, on top of the spinal injuries that I have, the carpal tunnel that uh, really just makes it really hard to do almost anything that you can think of doing with your hands, which I ended up diagnosed with severe carpal tunnel and nerve damage when I was 22 years old. So when I was really, yeah, at that time, that's when I started noticing the difference in my vision. At that time, y'all know, it always starts back to this because it's compounded. My husband was snatched out of our household. He was the breadwinner. I ended up having to find an overnight job because I couldn't afford daycare. And it's like you have to choose. Do you want the daycare or do you want to work? And if you work, your whole paycheck is going to daycare. So it really makes that pointless. You're working just to send your child to daycare when you could just keep your own child and still be just as broke as you are with sending your child to daycare. So because that, I knew I couldn't elevate like that. And my thing has always been trying to fulfill like the full capacity of who God made me to be. Right? I feel like in a lot of ways I've been limited and cut off and tapped off, and my ceiling is dropping on me. Oh, I had a rhyme with that one. I used to think the limit was the sky. Now call me Chicken Little, since the sky is falling on my. But yeah, it seems like so many things are just limiting me. And it's like my mind has these big, like there's no boundaries in my mind, but in my physical there are very much boundaries that limit me, right? So I'm a single mother, single married woman. Y'all seen that video? Married because with my husband who is wrongfully incarcerated, but in real life I'm single because I'm the one out here on my own, sleep alone, raising the child basically on my own. We kept in communication like through prison visits and through phone calls and things like that. But most part, I was a single mother overnight by force, not choice. I got a song about that too. To all my single mothers out there by force, not choice. Hey, know that you can make it, but the choice is yours. If you never give up, never throw in the towel. To keep your head up, you make it out somehow. So knowing that, one, I gotta get lawyer money in order to put our family back together. Two, I have got to, in the meantime, be mother and father both, so I'm gonna have to elevate my income. And it wasn't logical to get a second job because then I would not be in our daughter's life, and our daughter is already missing her father, so I didn't want to add to her missing her mother. Even if I wasn't in prison, I'm on a work shift that I'm working and still never seeing her. So that wasn't gonna fly. So I said I have to find a career that can elevate, that can increase in the amount that I'm paid, because I was a worker at Winn-Dixie. I was making $5.15 an hour. Then at one point I did get a second job, making $7.25 or something at KFC. Girl, got a song about that too. Working Winn-Dixie, KFC, all of this stressing me. Lord, send my blessing, please. When I'm gonna be debt free. I'm working 9 to 5 on the grind. I ain't even got no time to spend with my family. All this is killing me. My baby girl crying, please, mommy, don't go, stay with me. My reply, baby, I gotta go, can't stay home. But yeah, trying to make those ends meet. So I ended up working overnight. I found me an overnight job at the super center that was down the street from the KFC. Y'all know the manager at the super center came up in the KFC. It was like, I'll pay all y'all way more than you make here, which it wasn't. He paid me like a quarter more because I went up to $7.50 to work overnight. So I basically made one more quarter to work overnight, but it was the ability to be able to work full time and to keep our daughter all day, and then in the evening I'm trying to elevate, so I went to hair school. This was 2003 when I enrolled into hair school. So the first part of hair school, you are doing book work. You're not even on the what they call the clinic floor. You're not touching any head. You're not even doing the mannequin head. You're just in the book. So when I got my book, I started noticing, because I guess I hadn't been like reading like that. I used to read like in middle school or whatever, but after middle school ended, I think I stopped reading books. Like I don't even remember the last time I've read a book, which is not good, but you know, I be on other stuff. I do read articles and stuff though, y'all know that much. I be doing a little research. But when I looked at the book, that's when I realized that the lines of the word, and what messes me up the most is black text on white paper. That is like so difficult to read. And I started noticing that the lines of text looked like they kind of had shadows. Like each line had a shadow. And it looks almost like a 3D effect. So I'm thinking I just need some reading glasses or something like that. But and what's so crazy, when I used to door greet at the super center, you know how there's two main entrances. You have the grocery side, and then you have what they call the GM side. And my friend at the time, that's a whole long story, but who I thought was my friend at the time, I would be dancing and singing, and I had, that's where I started rapping. I would have my little demo around my neck. I would be writing like poems and raps and drawing at the door while I'm holding a little clipboard waiting on the door to go off. In between, I was just grinding basically. That's where most of my songs came from. That's where a lot of my drawings, that's where my project reached the world. That Hold You Down video, that's where I drew all those frames at the door as a door greeter. So I would just be dancing. Like after I wrote my song, I would be performing it. And I remember I could look clear across the store and see my friend, and I'd be waving, hey girl. And she'd be like, what is wrong with her? She having a whole concert over there on that side. And I used to actually be on the GM side, which was really the slowest side, because everybody at that time of night was mostly coming in for groceries. So they would come on the grocery side. But I would be on the GM side there, and I would just be dancing and creating. And it was like I had 8 hours of time to just create. And then when I would go on my lunches and breaks, I would have my canvas under my arm and I would be painting. I would either be doing hand painted t-shirts or I'd be painting canvases. So I was really engulfed in my art back then. But what I noticed shortly after, so I noticed the difference in the textbook, and then shortly after I'm like, I can't even see her. Like, what's happening? I literally used to wave at her and she'd be laughing at me and I could see her. But only like it felt like a few months later, I could not see her. Now, what I have is a rare eye disease called keratoconus. It is when your cornea starts to protrude out so far that the doctor, the way he explained it, was like a boiled egg. If you squeeze a boiled egg, the pressure ends up making the boiled egg bust. It's going to bust like at the tip of the egg, right? That's basically what my eye is doing, is squeezing, squeezing, squeezing until boom, the thing ruptures. This eye is, you really can't see it. You have to look from the side. I don't know. Can you see it? It points. It's a point at my eye. I don't know if you were able to see it. And I do remember the first time someone told me, because that same friend, she was like, "What is that shine in your eye?" And I'm like, "A shine?" And she's like, "Yeah, a shine in your eye." She's like, "It's creeping me out." Because this eye really catches the light. Like anytime I take pictures and then there's a flash, like y'all see that? Y'all could see it there. I could kind of see it. There's a shine right there. It's from the car that is pulling out and it's like beaming off of my eye. So I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with it, but I knew the vision went from there to gone. I'm like, but that was kind of creeping me out, her telling me there was a shine. And I would notice that I would get as close as I could in the mirror like that, and I still couldn't see. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Like, and I would go around asking people that wore glasses, like, what does your, like, vision impairment look like? And they would explain, the way they would explain to me is that it's like you can see, but everything just kind of looks blurry. But I knew that's not what I was seeing. I wasn't just seeing blur, I was seeing circles. Everything had shadows. Every single thing had several shadows. So if my one finger would have, like, it'd be several fingers. And it's hard to know what's the real finger. You would see like shadows. And the best way I can explain it is it looks like 3D. If you ever watch a 3D movie and you take your glasses down, that's what it looks like. But it gets worse and worse and worse. Like, if you could think like how you would be going from 3D and you're bringing something in focus and then it becomes crisp, and then when you get out of focus it starts to show those shadows again. Well, on this side it's really like just overlapping shadows. This side is a little bit, I still have some vision left in this eye. I have 20x, so nothing, I can't really make nothing out except for that girl. God had healed my eyes for a split moment, and I woke up one day and I'm like rubbing my eyes and I'm like, did I fall asleep with my contact in? But I don't even wear contact on this side, and I could literally just see through that eye. That's when someone named Derek Vernon had prayed for my eyes. He prayed and he was like, "Do you believe that you'll be able to see again?" I'm like, "Yes, because God healed me once, and I know He can heal me again, girl, because my eyes used to be worse than this." So, but yeah, so now there's nothing. Like when I close my eye, I can see the brown from my face. I can't see no definition. When I see people, I can't tell whether they're female, male, child. I can't see your age because you see the age on the skin, right? I can't see any texture or anything like that. No definition, but I can see movement. I can see the movement in the color. So I can kind of make out the color and the movement, right? And I would learn how people move. I would learn the way people, And it was so bad that one time my mother was in the library standing at the desk across from me. Now, it wasn't that far, it was maybe 10 feet. The library desk ain't that big. And I see somebody waving like that, and I'm like, and I see it, and I'm like, Kita, you don't, I'm your mama. What, you don't recognize me? And I'm like, oh yeah. Like I had to play it off because I don't know. I felt like I don't know why, but we get embarrassed sometimes when we have to admit that we're not fully whole, which I don't understand. And maybe it's a human thing, but when you have to admit to others that you're not fully like you used to see and now you can't, or like um, with my spinal injuries and I can't hardly do things that I used to do. On my hands, I hate accepting that my hands don't work. Baby, I'm gonna push them hands all the way. So it's kind of a thing that you hide, and I don't know why, but we do. I was trying to hide it, so nobody knew my vision was as bad as it was, but I really could not see. It was so aggravating. It felt like I was like looking underwater or something. And because I didn't know what was happening to my eyes because they were just there, and then now the vision is just gone, like almost gone, and like diminishing rapidly. I had got scared because I'm like, I'm not going to be able to see my daughter's face. Like, she's going to grow up and I'm not going to know what she looks like or anything like that. And it was so much at one time. And I kept trying to go to doctors, and doctors did not know what was wrong. That's why they call it practicing, girl. Not one eye doctor knew what was happening to my vision. When they looked at my eye, they see I had scar tissue on my eye. And I was told, okay, you injured your eye, just don't injure the other. And I'm like, I never injured my eye. So what do you mean, just don't do it to the other? And I had one tell me, because I worked overnight under, Walmart, I mean, Super Center lights are so freaking bright and they're fluorescent. And I was told that working under fluorescent, so you're basically in daytime all day, then all night, you're not getting any night, you're getting fluorescent light. So that could be what is wrong. And I remember I used to wear shades all the time because minimizing the light did help a little bit, but it didn't help me see completely. And then I remember that I had tried on my sister. My sister does wear glasses, and I tried on her glasses, and it did increase my vision a bit. It did not make it like clear. So for a while, I was just wearing her old prescriptions and sunglasses and just trying to play it off. Now, what I did find out was when I would push, because I didn't know what it was because it's the way the cornea is. So now I understand the logic of why it used to work. But when I push on my eye a certain way, it would clear it up. Let me see. Can I do it with this one? Nah, I can't see nothing. Yeah. But you gotta, and then if you squint, you can see a little better. I see more definition when I press on my So I literally used to drive, and now my eyes weren't as bad as they are now. They were bad, but they weren't. This one, gone. But I used to drive pressing my eye like this. If I took my finger down off my eye, I literally would lose the road. I could not see. So I would have to drive like this. That's how I drove. Not good at all. But I still can't figure out why I'm losing my sight. Like, what is going on? So I go to another place. They had advertisements everywhere, and they say, okay, we got to dilate your eyes. And they dilate my eyes, and they're like, okay, you're free to go. And I'm like, free to go? Why would I just come in and have my eyes dilated? Are y'all going to check something? So they check, and they make me these. They told me I had a lazy eye. And I'm like, a lazy eye? Where I get that from? I ain't never had no lazy eye. Now all of a sudden I got a lazy eye. So this is several different diagnoses. The first is that you worked under fluorescent lights. Then the second was you scarred it, just don't scar the other. And then the third is that you have a lazy eye. So they have these glasses that are like concave. They're very thick on the edge, and they're very thick on the edge, but they kind of go in like a prism. It's circular, and it kind of makes the eye. It pulls the eye in. So if you have a lazy eye, it'll pull it over. So I would wear those, and it would help a little bit, but they hurt my head so much because of the pulling on the eye. But it still wasn't clear enough. It wasn't clear enough to function. And I remember at this time my daughter was getting older, maybe about 7-ish, 6 or 7 or something like that. And she just thought it was so funny that when she gets more than 10 feet in front of me, I can't see her. And it made me go into a panic because every little girl looked like because all I could see is the brown, and I could kind of see the color of the clothes. So if she had on pink, any patch of brown and pink mixture, I'm gonna think that's my child, right? So it was crazy, and the whole time I'm trying to accept that I'm losing my sight. Anyways, back to that. When I went and they dilated my eyes, they charged me all this extra money for glasses, and then when I get them, I can't see through them, and then they're like, "Oh well, too bad, no refunds," and this and that. So it was really, really trying and difficult. So I knew I was losing my vision, but I just didn't know what was wrong. And I'm like, how did it happen so fast? I literally was just seeing straight across, like, and that's a long distance from one door at Walmart to the other. Now I can barely see in front of my face. I would get in the mirror, and I don't care how close I got, I could not see. Couldn't see my hands at all, my feet. Look down and you can't see your feet. So I'm like, eventually I just gave up. I'm like, I'm just losing my eyesight, and I don't know what to do because I kind of tried everything. And so ended up that compounded stuff. It was time to renew my driver's license, and y'all know I used to drive like this, like pressing on my eye. And crazy, Marcella used to be about 4 or 5 hours away, and I used to drive like this for 4 hours down the street trying to get to and from visitation. And what was so crazy, because light bothers my eyes so bad, so I would try to hurry up and get home before nightfall, because at nightfall the headlights could just take over everything. It was very difficult, to where I would try my best to not even try to drive at night. If I did, I would be far, far, far lane, barely moving. So during the daytime, it was kind of easier to just do this, and because everybody didn't have their lights on or whatever. And please, I'm not recommending you do that. Do not do that. Do not, I'm not telling you, I'm not advising you to do that. I'm telling you of how God kept me, how God got me through this. So, it came up time to renew my license, and I tried to do it through the mail, but it's always a but. I had an identity theft, and I could not renew my Florida license through the mail because someone got a Georgia license and got tickets under my name in Georgia. And I'm not in the part of Florida that is close to Georgia. I'm in central Florida that is far from Georgia. Like, that is not right around the corner from Georgia. So they went there, had a whole ID under my name, had me married. I was married to an African guy. That's a whole nother crazy. The most has happened. God has got me through so much. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. So they were saying you have to pay up these tickets and renew your license in Georgia before you can renew your license in Florida. So by the time I got that all sorted out, it was too late to renew my Florida license. Oh gosh. So I had to go in the DMV. And you already know they're going to give you that eye test. I'm like, oh my gosh. I didn't wear my sister's glasses because I knew that when you have on glasses, then they're going to make it where you have to have glasses when you're driving. So, and I wouldn't drive with the glasses. I would do this. So, I go in there and trying to renew my license, and they say, okay, you have to read the chart, read line such and such. And I'm like, they're like, okay, I'm gonna shut off the left eye. Let me see what you can read. No, I think they did the right eye first, which the right eye was bad, but the left eye went from 0 to nothing real quick. So they was like, I'm gonna shut that right eye off, and now you read through the left eye. And I'm like, I couldn't make out not one letter out of this eye. So they're like, can you see the letters? So I'm like, oh my gosh, they're gonna take my license. So now I'm a single mother, prison wife. No way to see my husband once they snatch my license. No way to get back and forth to work. No way to do whatever. I mean, I was struggling to do everything, but I was still doing it. I was in hair school too, like as I was losing my eyesight. It's so crazy how did I go through all of that as I'm just naming it. So at the end they said, I thought they snatched your license then, but they didn't. They said they issued me a temporary driver's license. They say you have until, was it 30 or 60 days? They may have gave me 60 days. They say you have to go to an eye doctor and you have to correct your vision. If you do not correct your vision by this date, we'll take your license. And I'm like, but I literally I have been trying my best to correct my vision. You see, I have been to all these different places and nobody freaking knew. Like, they were telling me all different conflicting things and nothing made my vision better. Okay. So my sister, she's like, well, you can go to my eye doctor. And I'm like, what is that going to do? I done been to all these doctors and they claim they the best of the best, and still I can't see. Like, I cannot, my vision's not getting any better. So I'm like, heck with it. I'm making peace with now. I'm gonna lose my license. I don't know how. I worked in a whole nother city, so I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna lose my job now and this and that. So preparing for the worst, because a lot of bad things do happen in my life. So I'm preparing for the worst. And I go in to the doctor, and the nurse, they sit you down in that little thing where you look in one side. They got the little things, and you sit with your nose up on the thing and your chin up on that thing. And she's like, look at the little hot air balloon. And I look at the hot air balloon. Now, granted, I can't make it out, but I see the colors. I know that's the object. I can tell that's the object because I see all the different colors. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, can you look at the hot air balloon? And I'm like, I'm looking at the hot air balloon. And she's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, yes, I am. It's red. I'm looking at the hot air balloon. And she's like, you can't see that. I can see what you see. So she goes and gets another nurse. She goes and gets another nurse. And that nurse comes and she's like, can you look at the little hot air balloon? And I'm like, okay, hot air balloon right there. And she's like, ma'am, can you look at the hot air balloon? I'm like, I see it's right there. It's red. And she's like, you don't see it. You can't see it. I'm like, okay. So now I'm like confused. So they go get a doctor. They go get the doctor. And he looks. And I hear, I'm like, you don't want to hear that. And he ain't even saying no words. He said, well, I got some good news and some bad news for you. You don't want to hear that either, right? He said, you're going blind. He said, you have a rare eye disease called keratoconus. He said, this is really going to be a big part of your life. He says, you are losing your vision, and he suggested that you always keep insurance, because in the end, I'm going to need a cornea transplant, right? So this is another reason why I'm stuck to 9-to-5 jobs, because I'm going to need that cornea surgery, and I have to keep healthcare, and healthcare is attached to your job, but I have conflicting disabilities that I really don't need to be working so much on the job, but I have to so it's a big mess. But if I learn nothing from all the stuff I've been through in my life, is that God has a way that he's going to work that out, right? I got to sit it down, take it off, stop toying with it on the table and let him, But, so he's like, yeah, so you're going to have to always have insurance. And I have to keep the top tier insurance. I can't get the lowest level because they don't do cornea surgery on the lowest level. I have to keep the highest level of insurance. And it'd be hurting my little pocket, y'all. But, yeah, he's like, always keep insurance. But the good news is they can make a contact for you. And I'm like, a contact? So he doesn't do it there. He refers me to a specialist, which that did not end. That ended crazy. I probably put that in a different video, but he made me feel really like, a lot of times me dealing with doctors throughout my life, they have made me feel like I wasn't nothing. Like I was just. So maybe I'll stop there because this is getting rather long. But to fast forward a little bit, when they made that contact, and at that time, this eye was a little bit better than it was. Once you start getting scar tissue, they can't really correct it. So I just go off of one eye, and it's the brain that, though I see all these swirls and circles, your brain tends to go with whichever vision looks better, and it kind of tells your brain that's what you're seeing. It tells you know, your eye that's what you're seeing. So though this eye is there, I really don't use it like that. I don't use it, but it's there. But when they made them contacts, and I could read the chart, and I looked down at my hands and I seen how textured they were. Like literally, I never seen the texture of my hands. And I looked at my feet and I seen my feet. And when I went home that day, I seen my daughter's face. That was the grace of God. But there were still challenges. There's still more challenges to come. But maybe tomorrow I'll tell the other part of it. But I have told it before. If you can search through all these videos, you'll find you'll find it. But girl, it's probably at the bottom of the channel, right? But yeah. So that's my testimony of basically I once was blind, but now I see. Because with that contact, I can see. I can't see clearly, but I can see enough. And like I said before, with you may not have as much as the next person has, but if you use what you have to its fullest capacity, that's all that's required of us, right? So it's amazing the things that I do off of the vision that I have. And my mother used to be like, you can't be blind because you draw. How are you drawing? And I tell you, no stories. I used to, because I had been drawing since I was a child, it's like memory. I just know how to draw. I can paint. I could look at anything and just, but I would have to take a picture and I would have to bring the picture all the way up to my face like that. And then I would draw, and then I would either take a picture of the drawing and bring it up and see, does it align to look like that other picture? Or I would draw and then I would ask somebody, does this picture look like that picture? And they'd be like, yeah, oh, okay, then that's it. That's how I used to draw. It was crazy. And then, like I said, I was in cosmetology school. And then I had graduated and I was in 2 different salons before I had to quit due to health reasons, the carpal tunnel and stuff. But I used to have bright combs, like fluorescent colored combs, so that the comb and the hair wasn't blending in together, so I could see where I'm cutting, when I was doing a razor cut or whatever. But it's so crazy. But God got me through all of that. So I once was blind, but now I see. That's why when Derek Vernon asked, do I believe that God can restore my vision? I'm like, yeah, he did it before. He did it before. And then I'll tell you another part of the testimony. I'm skipping ahead. But every time I go to that eye doctor, they're like, you ready for that cornea transplant? And when I really broke down and I was ready, right before I gave the go, my mother passed away from an outpatient surgery, a routine outpatient surgery that many people just come home from. She never came home. And I was like, the jail I am getting a cornea transplant. And they're like, do you realize you can see so much better than you see if you just get the transplant? But then they also told me that getting the transplant, your body could just one day decide it's rejecting it. And then that most likely that cornea is not going to last me, calculating by my age. I'm going to have 2 cornea transplants per eye within my lifetime. So the decision that I made was to just keep my eyes until they rupture. Once they rupture, once this one ruptures, then it's gone at that point. I gotta get the transplant, right? And then they're like, well, if you don't get the transplant at that point, that's when you'll have a whited over eye. Like, you know how Fetty Wap has that whited over eye, which it probably won't be no different. Well, it would be different because right now I can't see colors. I don't know how that would feel to not see I don't know. But that's what would happen if I don't get the transplant. I would just lose the whole um, color of my eye. It'd just be whited over. So the decision was, once that eye is gone, then go ahead and then hold on to this eye, until they both bad. Then we'll go get it. And at that point, they were like, Miss Dixon, your eye is gone. It's gone, but it hadn't ruptured, right? And the doctor was like, I don't know, because they have a special thing to tell you how thin your cornea is, because it's super, super thin. Like I said, protrudes until it starts busting. But they say it busts from the inside out, so it gets super thin. And there was like, we don't know if you have 5 years with your eye or 10. And I remember this was 2017 or so, that it had almost been that point. And I remember telling another girl, she was I was in graphic design school at that point, which it was so hard being in school and being visually impaired, trying to be a graphic designer and sitting up on the computer like this. And they're like, could you move yourself back from the computer? And I would have to sit all the way in the front of the classroom. And then some of my projects were coming out pixelated because I couldn't notice the texture and all of that. So it was really challenging. But I graduated, you know. But they was like, you would be good for basically having websites and stuff up to code, because you already know what someone that's visually impaired might look for. But there is differences in visual impairment. Like some of the the keyboards that are for visually impaired, they are bright colored. Now, I told you, for me, light bothers my eye. So the brightness of the color is going to attract all this light. And it sometimes makes it harder for me to see, when in other visual disabilities, it makes it better for them to see. But anyway, she was like, 5 years? She said, why pray for 5 years? Why not pray for 10? And it's been surpassed, just about. So, yeah. All right, guys, that's my testimony, and I'm sticking to it. It's your girl, Cadillac.